and the Dick Cheney and the Clintons, they're all part of this alien agenda. This Illuminati families, the 13 Illuminati families have listed at my website, the Watcher Files, that Fritz Springmeier exposed. They're children of these aliens, and so they're here on Earth doing everything that their parents, the aliens, the reptilians, want them to do, to lead mankind into becoming meat harvests for the aliens. But somewhere we have a different government. I tend to believe that somewhere, and I know there is, but the problem being is they have no real power. Is the real patriotic people, the ones who would fight against the aliens to keep mankind the way it is and safe and protected from these aliens. They're not the ones in power. The ones in power are the Illuminati, and the Illuminati are the ones that want to enslave you and have your moms and daughters and sisters and wives and everybody being used as pawns, as hosts for these aliens so that they can breed their own hybrid races. They go along with this. They don't care, and they don't care that the humans are being targeted by the millions every year around the world and hung up and killed and put in these alien meat lockers. They don't care. They're involved with this. They're part of the problem. And so there's very few that are working behind the scenes that actually care about standing up and doing something to stop these aliens from doing it. Ronald Reagan knew full well what they were doing. And so it was his plea that they come up with a Star Wars defense system to stop aliens, to be able to fight them off. He knew there was an alien invasion coming and wanted to be able to fight them off and develop weapons. And that's how we got these EMP weapons that will take down UFOs. But it was a start. But right now it was just, there's no stopping what's coming. Eventually, a third of mankind, just through wars and plagues. If they don't get you from outright abductions, they'll get you from the plagues and wars and just general death, so that they can feed off the human race. And so that's, you look at things that are going on, is it really worth it? Is it really worth bothering going from one end of the country and the world, putting orgone everywhere to delay the inevitable or prohibit the inevitable? But you know what? A remnant will survive. A remnant will always live through it. The Lord always protects and brings through a remnant of people. And so all we can do is what He asks us to do. And for some of you, that's not an option. He don't care what He asks you to do. You're not going to do what He asks you to do anyway. So you don't care. Because you haven't done so far anything He's asked you to do, so you're not going to worry about wondering later in the future if what you did any good, because you haven't done anything. But that's where we're at right now. We're kind of like in a war with the space butchers. The New Age calls them our space brothers. The people in their right mind will call them what they are, space butchers. And we're fighting against them. We're fighting against these aliens. They're dominating our Earth. They're dominating. You go out at night, you see them all over the place. You see the UFOs in the skies. And so that's what the war is on. Orgone will help. Orgone, as far as I know. And like I said, I still would like to hear from people who suffer these abductions, who have worn orgone pendants or whatever, and like to hear if the orgone stopped the abduction or kept them away or whatever. I don't have a problem with aliens myself. I have a problem with human military black ops. When you think about all the people, and people want you to submit your abduction stories and blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? The people I know have never seen... I've never seen a little gray alien, and neither have anybody I know. I do know women who have been abducted by military officers taken to NORAD. Facilities they've described as NORAD. One was a female preacher. She was a pastor of a church. She was abducted. She didn't see aliens. She saw military officers. She said she was taken into a room and they were trying to implant a chip in her, and before they brought her back, one of the officers raped her as a room full of people watched, and she described this room full of people as scientists and doctors. And they just sat there, and they're just Satan freaks, these people that worship Satan. And she described her facility as NORAD, said she could see the screens around the walls and stuff, and her description was very similar to something you'd hear about from NORAD. Another description from a friend of mine had for years, she would be abducted out of her house and taken to a military installation and be forced to train and learn how to be a soldier. And so she'd be doing this all night and then be taken back to her bed and wake up and go on as a regular mom, you know. But at night they would come and get her and they were teaching her how to shoot. It was almost like having a double life, you know. During the day you're just a house mom, and then at night you're taken to military installations and taught to become soldiers. And this is part of their MyLab program. It's called military MyLabs, military lab rats, where they're taking humans against their will, abducting them, teaching them trades, teaching them different skills against their will. You know, nothing about this agenda is friendly when you're being kidnapped and abducted and held against your will for whatever purpose, whether you're being used as a host for aliens to carry hybrid fetuses for 2 months, or whether you're being trained as a MyLab for whatever's coming, future wars, martial law. She said one of her main jobs was that during a time of martial law, she would be working with crowd control, controlling crowds. And very many, and what she had done and what they do on the internet is they put up forum boards, and they want to talk to like-minded people. They want to talk to maybe other people who have also been abducted. And then what happens is the government uses these forum boards and these places to find out who's remembering what. And then they go after these people. So she shut down her forum. She found out exactly what it was, why it was being used, and she shut it down. She didn't want anybody to get hurt. But by then it was one of the largest and well-known on the internet at the time, and the government already has. They use these as tracking tools. Mind control forums, other things, people remembering things, abduction, UFO groups. They're always inundated with military and government people so that they can track them, who's remembering what. And then target these people to go back and use mind erasers on them, erase their memories, erase their minds so that they can't remember anything. Keep tabs on what they're talking about, threaten them to keep them silent. So that's what these kind of things are. It's a double whammy. You can't really have any kind of therapy groups on the internet to get together with like-minded people and not be surrounded by the government to make sure, keep tabs on who's remembering what and where they are. Kind of a double whammy. But I've heard from many, many people who are being abducted out of their sleep at nights to be used as military pawns, military soldiers. And so on one hand, you have all these people being abducted and used by the aliens for sperms or eggs or hosts or carriers or whatever. And then you have people being abducted at night to be used as soldiers for the military. I mean, it's just crazy. Is anybody getting sleep? Is anybody getting sleep around the world? That's not funny, but if you don't laugh, you would just cry. We're just a target. We're sitting ducks. We're sitting targets. And eventually you get to the point where you just say, that's it, I'm not going to take it anymore, and you try to find something that will work to stop it, because the government, in its present form, with the Illuminati running it, is not going to protect you or help you, because they're part of the problem. They're part of them. They're part of the agenda. And so, just seeking the Lord for ways. His ways are not man's ways. And so sometimes, there are, unconventional ways we can do, things we can do to protect ourselves from everything that's going on. I've talked to people how to deactivate chip implants with neodyme magnets. I heard another way, if you are implanted with one of these implants, because they can't deactivate all chip implants, these neodymes, because the ones that are really embedded in your brain and become part of the tissue of your brain, you can't